Have you ever stood at the edge of a vast ocean, feeling insignificant yet yearning for something more? That sense that your existence needs a complete metamorphosis, but you're waiting for some cosmic alignment to begin? It's as if you're watching the film of your own life from the audience, observing each scene unfold while anticipating a plot twist that perpetually eludes you. Do you truly wish to remain a spectator in your own narrative as the final credits draw nearer? In this exploration, I'll share 11 fundamental principles that revolutionized my existence in just 24 hours, and they hold the same potential for you. This isn't mysticism or clickbait trickery, it's Stoicism in its purest form. I'll unveil powerful, straightforward truths that can utterly transform your worldview. These principles, inspired by Stoic philosophy, are practical instruments that can reshape you from within. Sounds implausible? Allow me to demonstrate. Are you prepared to embark on a new chapter, one where you finally unleash all the dormant potential you've been harboring? 1. Flow with reality for results. Have you witnessed a vehicle trapped in quicksand? No matter how frantically its wheels spin, it remains stationary, merely flinging more sediment around. My friend, complaints function identically. They whirl in your consciousness, drain your vitality, and lead you nowhere. Meanwhile, existence slips away while you remain ensnared. Let's be honest, complaining resolves nothing. Rather than becoming imprisoned in that cycle of negativity, seize control. Certainly, it's uncomfortable initially, and undoubtedly challenging, but if you persist with identical behaviors, how can you anticipate different outcomes? Transformation commences with you, precisely here and now. Zeno once remarked, "Do not yearn for events to unfold as you desire, instead, wish for them to transpire as they naturally do, and your journey will be smoother." Do you perceive it? This isn't about surrendering, it's about utilizing available resources to progress. When you cease complaining and embrace reality, you liberate energy previously squandered on negativity, energy essential for taking action. This isn't merely Stoic wisdom. A Harvard University study discovered that habitual complaining not only reinforces negative patterns in your brain but also elevates stress levels. Each complaint further solidifies that habit in your neural pathways. The solution? Replace every complaint with action, however minimal. Here's the revelation: your brain learns that habit too. Have you heard about Isabella Torres, better known as Phoenix? This ultramarathoner undertook an almost impossible challenge, running 1,200 kilometers in 21 days during the scorching summer heat. Her singular rule? No complaints. Every step represented action, not excuses. Can you envision such discipline? That's the secret. Eliminating complaints opens the gateway to extraordinary achievements. Not only did she accomplish her goal, but she also inspired thousands because complaints are contagious, but so is action. Now, let's discuss you. How frequently do you complain without realizing it? About congestion, employment, insufficient time, the list continues. What benefit do you derive? Absolutely none. Here's effective advice, though initially unpalatable. Change begins gradually, not with grand revolutions. Do you constantly lament about lacking time for exercise? Let's examine the truth. How many minutes do you spend scrolling through your phone upon waking? Perhaps 15 or 20. Reduce 10 of those minutes and utilize them for yourself. Stretch, take a brief walk, or perform a few squats. A gymnasium isn't necessary to commence, just a decision. Does household disarray frustrate you? Rather than becoming exasperated whenever you observe the chaos, commit to organizing one small area daily. Don't attempt to clean everything simultaneously. Begin with something simple like that drawer filled with items you never use. Discard broken objects, donate unnecessary ones, and you'll soon notice how external order begins to clarify your mind. If your complaint is that work consumes you, leaving no personal time, pause momentarily. What's your first action upon returning home? Do you collapse onto the sofa to watch something uninteresting? Replace that habit with something that nourishes your soul. Read an inspiring book or share coffee with a friend. Here's a straightforward challenge. For 1 week, whenever you catch yourself complaining, document it. Crucially, beside each complaint, write an action you can implement, however minor. For instance, if you note, "I'm constantly exhausted," add, "Tonight I'll retire 30 minutes earlier." If you write, "I'm perpetually late," add, "I'll prepare my attire and breakfast the night before." These actions don't merely resolve problems, they cultivate habits that, over time, transform your mindset. Surprisingly, a full week isn't necessary to observe change. This principle could be the pivotal moment your life requires, because in just one day, you can transition from being a complainer to becoming someone who acts, someone who advances. 2. Live with less, gain more. Have you ever felt that your existence is so congested that you can barely breathe? I'm not solely referring to possessions, but also the noise, commitments, and endless thoughts that burden you. Imagine this scenario. You return home after an exhausting day, place your keys on the table, hang your coat, and encounter piles of items, papers, unread messages, an interminable to-do list. Overwhelming, isn't it? Every insignificant object around you feels like sand accumulating in your chamber, gradually filling the space. Initially, it's merely a thin layer beneath your feet, but eventually, you're immobilized, knee-deep, with no room to breathe or think clearly. That sensation of being overloaded constitutes a genuine barrier to your well-being. Here's the key: living with less doesn't signify abandoning importance, it means creating space for what truly matters. The Stoics comprehended this centuries ago. To them, accumulating possessions distracted from reality. Imagine if Seneca lived today. His day would commence with endless meetings, documents requiring signatures, and all the pressures of advising an emperor. Then he'd return to a home cluttered with pointless objects, thousands of unread emails, and social obligations adding no value. How would he feel? Overwhelmed, just like us. So, as a true Stoic, what would he do? He'd focus on what genuinely matters, releasing anything not contributing to his purpose, serenity, or inner peace. That's precisely my invitation to you today. Many believe living with less means sacrificing everything, but it's not about loss, it's about gain. When you remove the unnecessary, you reclaim your time, energy, and mental clarity. Trust me, I understand this firsthand. Inspired by the Danish philosopher Nikolai Hansen, a minimalist icon, I decided to simplify my life after learning about the clarity and peace he gained. I began with basics, discarding everything unused or unnecessary. The result? I felt lighter, clearer, as if I'd created space in my mind and home. As Hansen states, when you possess less, you value more. You might wonder, what's there to value without much? Time, calm, and focus on what truly matters, my friend. How can you start living with less? Begin with something physical. Examine that closet overflowing with unworn clothes. Don't overthink, just start. Dispose of the unnecessary or donate what no longer serves you. Do it today, because in one single day, that small action can liberate you from an unrecognized burden. You'll observe how clearing physical space clears your mind, providing a sense of control and clarity. Next, address a commitment. We all possess that automatic affirmation, that desire to please others. Ask yourself, what have you agreed to that isn't helping you advance? Perhaps it's a meeting that could have been an email, or a draining social activity. Today, eliminate one item from your schedule that adds no value to your life. Lastly, consider your thoughts. How often do you worry about uncontrollable matters or stress about the future? Here's my challenge. Take 5 minutes today to meditate or breathe deeply. Just 5 minutes, it'll be your anchor, your moment of tranquility amidst chaos. Ultimately, you aren't what you accumulate, you're what you choose to retain. Everything you release is a step toward a lighter, freer, more focused existence. Are you prepared to take that step today? Trust me, living with less doesn't remove anything from you. On the contrary, it returns everything. 3. Gratitude as a habit. Let me share a story about Victor. Several months ago, Victor felt his life was disintegrating: workplace issues, domestic arguments with his children, and constant dissatisfaction. One day, a colleague suggested something simple yet unusual: document 3 things he was grateful for every morning. Initially, Victor ignored this advice, but his colleague persisted, so he reluctantly tried. The first day, he wrote, "I'm grateful for my health, nothing extraordinary, right?" But something shifted. From that day forward, his mind began focusing on what he possessed rather than what was missing. What happened next? Victor didn't win a lottery or receive a miraculous promotion, but he began perceiving things differently. That same day, he noticed his fortune in having a pleasant conversation with a coworker, or watching the sunset as he departed the office. Gratitude didn't solve all his problems, but it provided something far more valuable: perspective. Victor's experience isn't unusual, science supports it. A study from the University of Cambridge revealed that practicing active gratitude increases happiness and reduces stress. It doesn't require anything grand or much time, just a few minutes daily suffice. From the very first day, your brain begins creating a new pattern, focusing on what you have instead of what you lack. This isn't about major achievements. The key lies in small, everyday things we often overlook. Epictetus wrote in his Discourses, "When you awaken each morning, consider what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This isn't about ignoring problems, but recognizing that even on the most difficult days, something deserves gratitude. The Stoics understood that gratitude isn't merely an emotion, it's a habit you cultivate daily. Believe me, it transforms your worldview. I understand your thoughts: my life is chaotic, I barely have time to breathe, let alone compile gratitude lists. Listen, I'm not requesting an hour of meditation on your blessings, I'm asking for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes can make a difference starting today. How do you begin? It's simple. Each morning upon waking, articulate one thing you're grateful for, something small, something real: the warm tea, the bed you slept in, the opportunity to begin a new day. Yes, it might seem trivial, but it works. Then, at day's end, take a minute to reflect on what you most enjoyed. Write down 2 things you're grateful for. Perhaps it was dinner or a brief conversation with your father. Read it back to yourself and, if possible, truly feel it, because transformation begins in those little things. This practice might seem insignificant, but I promise it changes everything. From the very first day, your mind starts focusing on positivity instead of negativity. Gratitude doesn't erase problems but provides strength and perspective to face them differently. And yes, that change can commence today. Life abounds with things we take for granted, but when you learn to notice what's already working, you begin to triumph. You liberate yourself from that constant sensation of lack. So consider one thing you're grateful for today, because when gratitude becomes habitual, everything begins to change, and that change can start now. 4. Optimize your energy. You've experienced it. The day begins with an endless to-do list: work, household chores, family care, everything awaits you. But you're fatigued, distracted, and after hours before a screen, you only manage to complete one minor task. Then, at 10 p.m., just when you should be relaxing, you suddenly feel energized, and your best ideas emerge. Familiar, isn't it? This isn't about willpower, it's about energy. Let's be clear, you're not a machine capable of performing at the same level continuously. Pushing yourself to work harder when your energy is depleted won't succeed. It's like trying to push open a door that swings inward. No matter how hard you try, it won't budge. The key to transforming your life in a single day is identifying and maximizing your energy peaks. Why waste your optimal hours on trivial tasks when you could utilize them to focus on what truly matters? Trust me, when you work with your energy instead of against it, it's like sailing with the wind. You begin moving effortlessly. Society seems to demand universal adherence to the same hours, 9 to 5, but what if that schedule doesn't optimize your time and energy? Professor Rebecca Talmage, a chronobiologist at Oxford University, explains that our performance directly correlates with our circadian rhythms. Interestingly, not everyone's rhythms are identical. Some people reach peak energy early morning, as the sun rises. They awaken refreshed, mentally clear, ready to confront challenges. Others are night owls, struggling in the morning but thriving in the evening, bursting with creativity and focus. Do you know which category you belong to? That's the first determination necessary. If you're a morning person, your early hours are sacred. Use that time for tasks requiring concentration, creativity, or problem solving. If you're more nocturnal, respect your rhythm and reserve your best projects for evening, when your energy peaks. Once you identify your highest energy periods, prioritize tasks accordingly. Reserve that time for your most important work. Don't waste it on emails or social media browsing. For instance, if mornings are your prime time, dedicate those hours to your most demanding projects: writing, creating, or planning. Leave lighter tasks like organizing files or responding to messages for lower energy periods. Here's advice that might surprise you: rest. Yes, taking breaks is essential for optimizing energy. Forcing productivity when drained will yield frustration and wasted time. Instead, take moments to recharge, stand, breathe, walk for 5 minutes. That small break will refuel you and help maximize your next working hour. Remember what Aurelius wrote, "Do every act as if it were the last act of your life." What does this teach us? Focus completely on your current task, but do it at the right time. It's not about doing more, it's about doing better. Imagine what you could achieve if, starting today, you organize tasks around your energy levels instead of following an arbitrary schedule. How would your life transform? The difference is substantial when you align work with your best self. Everything flows naturally. Stop forcing yourself to push that door at the wrong time. Learn to move with your energy, and you'll see how in just one day, you begin gaining time and seeing results. 5. Take charge of your life. There's an ancient tale about a traveler who fell into a deep ravine while journeying along a mountain path. Recognizing his predicament, he began shouting loudly, hoping for rescue. First, he cursed the ravine for existing. "Who leaves a chasm like this along a traveled route?" he complained. Then he blamed the clouds for obscuring moonlight that might have helped him see his path. Finally, he grew angry at his boots. "They're worn out, that's why I slipped." Time passed with no rescue. Each minute deepened his despair. Eventually, the traveler realized an uncomfortable truth: no one was coming. If he wanted to escape, he needed to stop blaming external factors and start climbing himself. Sound familiar? Perhaps you haven't fallen into a literal ravine, but whenever you blame others for your circumstances, it's like remaining trapped in that pit. Feeling professionally stagnant? It's my supervisor's fault. Relationships faltering? It's the other person, they simply don't understand me. Gradually, you surrender control of your life to everything and everyone else. But such narratives lack heroes, they feature only those waiting for rescue. Let me be direct, even if difficult to hear, your circumstances result from your decisions. Don't panic, this isn't catastrophic. By accepting responsibility for your position, you gain power to change everything. If you truly desire transformation, start owning this today. Diogenes captured this with a powerful truth: circumstances don't create the individual, they merely reveal them. Consider that momentarily. Challenging situations don't define you, they reveal who you are and how you choose to confront them. Blaming others or external factors keeps you immobilized, but taking responsibility liberates you, because when you take control, you decide who you want to be and how you want to live. How do you begin taking charge of your life in just one day? First, stop seeking someone to blame. Starting today, when facing a problem, don't ask, "Whose fault is this?" Instead ask, "What can I do to change this?" That small shift in mindset changes everything. Second, take one action that's completely yours. If you're dissatisfied with your finances, list unnecessary expenses and eliminate one today. If you feel disconnected from someone important, stop waiting for them to reach out, initiate contact yourself. The key is to act, not wait. Third, ask yourself which part of your life doesn't align with your values, and make a decision about it. It needn't be a monumental change. For instance, if you value health but haven't been caring for yourself, start today, take a 20-minute walk or choose a healthier meal. It's simple but transformative. Here's the difference between those who progress and those who remain static. The former stop waiting for rescue. They choose to act, they take charge. So I ask you, will you continue making excuses, or will you start choosing your life? You needn't fix everything in one day, but you can start today, and that first step, however small, changes everything. Think better, act better, and start climbing out of the pit today. 6. Make things happen. How often have you said, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I'll address it when the timing is right," and there it remains, circling in your mind, that uncomfortable conversation, that decision you continually postpone. Life overflows with minor matters never completed because we believe we're awaiting the perfect moment. But let me tell you, that moment doesn't exist. Imagine this: you've been meaning to speak with your colleague for weeks because something feels amiss. Daily you promise yourself, "I'll mention it today," but when the moment arrives, you think, "I don't want to disrupt the workday, today isn't suitable." Spoiler alert, that day never arrives. I know because I've been there too. Professor Martina Kovac, who built her academic success from humble beginnings, states bluntly, "Someday isn't a date on the calendar. If you don't act today, you never will." Why? Because excuses will always abound, reasons to postpone will always exist. But while you wait, others take action. While you hesitate, others advance. The day you eliminate "someday" from your vocabulary and take action, however small, your life begins changing. Yes, it starts precisely then and there. I'm sharing this because I've experienced it. I watched that lecture from Professor Kovac and decided to apply it to my life. That same day, I eliminated "someday" from my vocabulary and made a decision I'd been avoiding for months. It was frightening, but that small step initiated a massive transformation. That's why I'm here, telling you, do it now, not later. Why? Because life doesn't wait. As Epictetus once said, do not act as if you will live for 1,000 years. The sands of time are trickling through your fingers. While it remains in your power, be virtuous. In other words, stop waiting. Action is the only thing that brings you closer to what you desire, whether it's life transformation, improved relationships, or the peace of mind you've been seeking. Every day spent waiting is one less day to act. I understand your thoughts, but it's not that simple. I don't blame you. I once thought identically. The difficult part isn't knowing what needs doing, it's taking that first step, because the first step is always intimidating. That uncomfortable conversation terrifies you because you can't predict the outcome. That overdue exercise feels daunting because you know it'll be challenging. But here's the secret: if you wait until fear subsides, you'll never act. Are you ready to start making things happen today? First, select one thing you've been postponing. Don't pretend there isn't one: that call you've been avoiding, that apology you know you should make, or that small change you've been evading. Write it down now. Second, eliminate "someday" from your vocabulary. It doesn't exist, it's not on the calendar, and it never arrives. The next time you catch yourself saying, "I'll do it someday," stop. Replace it with "today" or "right now," because if you start today, even with the smallest step, you'll break the waiting cycle, and that can transform your life in a single day. I'm not exaggerating. Action has immediate power. Here's a difficult truth we dislike acknowledging. Not making a decision is still a decision. It's choosing to remain unchanged. But let me ask, is that what you want? Do you want to remain trapped in identical circumstances, running in the same circle? The difference between achievers and non-achievers isn't in their ideas or resources. It's that some act while others wait. So what will you do, wait or make it happen? The choice is yours, and it starts now. 7. Make challenges your allies. Imagine this: you're sitting alone in an empty library. Suddenly, the door creaks open, and in walks a man with a stern expression. He doesn't speak, he sits across from you, his gaze fixed upon you. Under his arm is an enormous book. Slowly, he begins pointing out everything you don't want to face: your mistakes, fears, failures. It's uncomfortable, it makes you angry. You look at him suspiciously and think, why is he here? What does he want from me? That man is your challenge, the difficulty that has appeared in your life. But listen carefully, he's not here to destroy you, he's here to teach you. Challenges are like disguised teachers. They don't bring smiles or gifts, they bring tests and trials. While they may initially discomfort you, they're the ones that teach you most profoundly. Does this sound familiar? A problem blindsides you, and you feel incapable of handling it. Perhaps you lost your job, a relationship ended, or something didn't proceed as planned. Your initial reaction is resistance, fighting against what's happening, as if complaining or denying reality could change it. But it doesn't, it only depletes you. What if, instead of fighting your challenge, you chose to use it for strengthening yourself? Cato faced every difficulty directly and learned from them. Do you think he fled from every challenge life presented? Of course not. As he said, a person should not fear adversity, for it is through adversity that he discovers what he is capable of. Consider this: if everything were easy, you'd never grow. Challenges exist to show you who you really are, and more importantly, who you can become. Every challenge you confront provides an opportunity to build discipline, patience, and character. That's what transforms you. Now, consider something that makes you uncomfortable, something you've been avoiding. Don't seek major tragedies. It could be as simple as resolving an argument with someone close or addressing a financial problem. Got it? Good. Now determine what lesson it's trying to teach you. Before acting, take a moment and ask yourself, what can I learn from this challenge? If it's an argument, perhaps the lesson is that you need to improve communication, listen better, or stop taking everything personally. Next, take a courageous step. You needn't solve everything immediately, just do something small but decisive. If it's a financial issue, open your bank account now and review recent expenses. Identify one unnecessary subscription or impulsive purchase and cancel it today. It's a minor action, but it demonstrates your control. Finally, acknowledge your progress. After facing a challenge, pause and reflect, what did I gain from this? Maybe you didn't resolve everything instantly, but you took action, learned something new about yourself, and most importantly, stopped avoiding. That small step has already strengthened you. Do you know why this can transform your life in a single day? Because when you confront something you've been avoiding, you break a mental pattern. You stop being someone who flees from problems and become someone who faces them. Today it might be a conversation, tomorrow it'll be a bigger decision, but each time you train yourself to improve. The biggest mistake most people make is viewing challenges as roadblocks, but you're not like most people. I'm telling you this because this principle has been crucial in my own transformation. Here's what I've learned from experience: you can't prevent problems from arising, but you can choose how to face them. When you make challenges your allies, you begin seeing the world differently. Every obstacle ceases being an enemy and becomes a tool for growth. That mindset shift is what can transform your life, even in a single day. 8. Cultivate daily reflection. My friend, I'll share something deeply personal, something I've never acknowledged before. There was a period in my life when I couldn't bear myself. Truly, I disliked my actions, appearance, and self-dialogue. Everything I did seemed wrong, and instead of trying to understand why, I merely punished myself. The guilt and frustration accumulated, and I continued moving forward automatically, never pausing to comprehend why I felt that way. Then one day, I decided to try something different. I began reflecting every night, not extensively, just 5 minutes at day's end to document what I'd done well, what I'd done poorly, and what I could change tomorrow. Initially, I felt ridiculous, like addressing someone uninterested in listening. But gradually, I began understanding myself. I started noticing patterns, realizing that not everything I did was wrong, that some things deserved celebration. Reflection helped improve my relationship with myself and, most importantly, make more conscious decisions. Let's be clear, daily reflection isn't about writing an essay or spending hours contemplating, as portrayed in social media. It's about taking a few minutes to examine yourself without filters or excuses, asking, what did I do well today? What did I do wrong? What can I do differently tomorrow? This isn't merely a trendy concept. Epictetus would sit down nightly to write what we now know as discourses. He didn't write to impress anyone or gain approval, he did it for himself. It was his method of reflecting on his actions and how he could improve, like tidying his house before bed. That's exactly what reflection does. It organizes your thoughts, clears your mind, and prepares you to begin a new day. Do you know who else has always practiced this? The Greeks, with their concept of eudaimonia, meaning flourishing and harmony. Aristotle, who wrote about eudaimonia, explains that daily reflection helps you understand how your actions and emotions fit into your life, like adjusting puzzle pieces. It's simple: if you don't pause to think, how can you expect change? Daily reflection is that moment when you take control and align your actions with your true desires. Trust me, it works. Would I mislead you as a friend? Here's my suggestion. Starting today, take 5 minutes at day's end, just 5. Grab a notebook, paper, or your phone's notes app. First, document what you did well. Yes, what you did well. Perhaps you had an important conversation or completed a small goal. Write it down, acknowledge it. Then note what didn't proceed as planned. Not everything will be perfect, and that's acceptable, but don't criticize yourself. Instead, ask, why did it turn out this way? What can I do differently tomorrow? The goal isn't self-blame, it's finding opportunities for growth. Why can this change your life in just one day? Because reflection is where you make peace with yourself and adjust your path to progress a little better daily. When you understand yourself, you make better decisions, and when you make better decisions, your life improves. It's logical, isn't it? 9. Find a mentor. Have you ever felt lost, as if wandering in darkness without knowing if you're heading in the right direction? Perhaps you're trying to advance professionally, improve some aspect of your life, or build something meaningful, but you don't know where to begin or whom to consult. Here's the key question: Why struggle alone when others have already traversed the same path? Let me tell you about Alexandra Dimitrov, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in Eastern Europe. Long before she became the Oracle of Bucharest, Dimitrov was exactly where you might be now, eager to progress but lacking clarity. That's when Nikolai Vasilev intervened, her mentor and the man who taught her the foundations of intelligent business. Vasilev didn't merely impart knowledge, he changed Dimitrov's perspective. He taught her not to let emotions dictate decisions, to focus on sound principles, and to always think long-term. The result? What Dimitrov learned from her mentor completely transformed her life. Here's the crucial point: if Dimitrov hadn't sought guidance, she might not be the person we know today, because finding a mentor can change everything. Do you think Zeno became the wise founder of Stoicism we admire without guidance? Of course not. His mentor was Crates of Thebes, who taught him the importance of discipline, introspection, and self-control. As Zeno acknowledged in his writings, it was Crates who helped him resist ego's pull and embrace philosophy as a life guide. A good mentor doesn't tell you what you want to hear, they tell you what you need to know. They open your eyes and teach you to see what you can't perceive independently. Now you might wonder, how do I find a mentor? Don't worry, you needn't pursue someone famous or schedule an impossible meeting. Start here. First, identify the area needing help. You can't improve everything simultaneously. Is it your career, personal development, health? Be honest with yourself and decide which part of your life you want to transform. Second, look for someone who's already where you aspire to be. They needn't be someone you personally know. It could be an admired author, an expert you follow online, or even someone in your circle who's achieved your goal. Learn from their actions, mistakes, and thought processes. But remember, you must be a good learner. If you can ask questions and, most importantly, apply their lessons, a mentor is useless if you ignore their guidance. It's not about expecting them to fix your life, it's about using their teachings as a map to move forward more efficiently. I'm telling you this from experience. Finding someone to guide you doesn't just accelerate growth, it saves years of mistakes and unnecessary detours. A good mentor is like a flashlight in darkness. They don't carry you to the destination, but they illuminate the path so you can reach it yourself. The journey will always be yours. Yes, you can achieve your goals independently, but it will take longer, with more stumbles and wasted time. With a mentor, you move faster, with greater clarity and fewer doubts. A mentor doesn't walk the path for you, but they show you where to step. Can you imagine anything more transformative than that? 10. Build goals that matter. Do you know what's unfortunate about most people's goals? They aren't truly theirs, they're borrowed from others. They want to earn more money because that's what society expects, have the perfect physique because that's how I'll be happy, or purchase unnecessary items just for validation. But here's an uncomfortable truth: those hollow goals won't fulfill you, let alone transform you. It's like constructing a house. Imagine decorating its exterior, perfect paint, garden flowers, bright facade lights. Beautiful, right? But what happens if the foundation isn't solid? The first storm will demolish everything. The same occurs with your goals. When you pursue external successes without a real foundation, they don't endure. Goals without purpose don't transform. That's why your goals must matter to you personally. They should help build your inner character. A Stoic would view it thus: goals aren't about demonstrating something to the world, they're about building something within yourself. Virtues like temperance, doing what needs doing even when difficult, and justice, acting with balance and purpose, are far more valuable than any external success. As Seneca said, if you don't know to which port you're sailing, no wind will be favorable. Consider this: how do you want to approach the new year? Still on autopilot, without clarity or purpose? Or would you rather arrive knowing exactly what you're building and why? Because the person who acts purposefully doesn't just achieve goals, they transform themselves in the process. If you're tired of wasting time on meaningless goals, it's time to get smart, literally. This simple yet powerful technique is your ticket to setting goals that aren't just clever but truly transformative. Let's break it down and sharpen your ambition. S for specific. Vague goals are ineffective. Don't say, "I want to get fit." What does that mean, running a marathon or climbing stairs without gasping? Be clear and concrete. For example, I will train 3 days weekly for 30 minutes. A specific goal tells you what you want to do and how to achieve it. Without a clear target, you're shooting arrows in darkness. M for measurable. How do you know you're progressing if you can't measure it? If you want to improve finances, don't say, "I'll save more money." Instead, decide, "I'll save €150 monthly by cutting 2 unnecessary expenses." Tracking progress maintains motivation, because if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist, and if it doesn't exist, it won't change. For achievable, let's be realistic. If you haven't read a book in years, don't aim to read 20 in a month, that will only frustrate you. Start small and achievable. I'll read 10 pages nightly before bed. Perfection paralyzes. Progress, no matter how small, moves you forward. R for relevant. This is where Stoics teach us to focus on what truly matters. Ask yourself, why do I want this? Don't set goals merely to impress others, set goals that build something meaningful within you. For example, don't train just to look good, train because you want to be disciplined, strong, and healthy. When a goal aligns with your values, you'll find strength to continue even when excuses arise. T for time-bound. Give your goal a deadline. If you don't, you'll never start. Don't say, "I'll do it someday." Say, "I'll start tomorrow," or "this month, I'll save $150." Deadlines create urgency, and urgency motivates action. When I began applying this to my life, I realized it's not about completing a checklist, it's about becoming more disciplined, more intentional, and stronger. That's what transforms your life. So don't wait any longer. Grab pen and paper, write down one goal that truly matters to you, and most importantly, take that first step. 11. Leave your mark on others. My friend, pause to reflect. What will remain of you when you're no longer here? I'm not discussing material possessions or professional titles. I mean the impression you leave on people. How have your actions benefited others? What impact are you having on those around you? Society resembles a vast tapestry, and each person is a thread. If a thread breaks or fails to fulfill its purpose, the entire fabric weakens. This final principle might be the most powerful of all because it transcends you. It's about the legacy you create through your interactions with others. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "What we do now echoes in eternity." Consider this: every word, every gesture, every small kindness you offer creates ripples that extend far beyond your immediate circle. Even the smallest act of compassion can transform someone's day, perhaps even their life. We often underestimate our influence on others. That encouraging word you shared with a colleague might have been precisely what they needed to persevere. The time you spent listening to a friend could have been their lifeline during a difficult period. These seemingly insignificant moments matter profoundly. Let me tell you about Alexander Petrov, a humble mathematics teacher who never achieved fame or fortune. For decades, he taught in a small town, living modestly and quietly. When he passed away, something remarkable happened. Hundreds attended his funeral, many traveling great distances. Former students shared stories of how this unassuming man had changed their lives through small acts of kindness, patient guidance, and unwavering belief in their potential. Petrov never knew the full extent of his impact, but his legacy lives on in the countless lives he touched. You might think, "I'm not a teacher or someone in a position to influence many people." But that's where you're mistaken. Every day presents opportunities to make a difference, no matter your role or circumstances. The question is whether you're paying attention to these opportunities or letting them pass by. Here's how you can begin leaving your mark today. First, be truly present in your interactions. Put away distractions and listen deeply when others speak. In our hyper-connected world, giving someone your full attention has become a rare and precious gift. When you listen without interruption or judgment, you communicate that they matter, that their thoughts and feelings are worthy of consideration. Second, seek to serve rather than be served. Ask yourself each morning, how can I contribute today? Whose life can I improve, even in a small way? This shift in perspective, from focusing on your needs to considering others, changes everything. It might be as simple as checking on a neighbor, mentoring a younger colleague, or volunteering an hour of your time to a cause you believe in. Finally, practice forgiveness and kindness, not just toward others but also yourself. We're all imperfect beings trying our best. When you forgive readily and act with kindness, you create an environment where others feel safe to be authentic and vulnerable. Such environments foster growth, healing, and meaningful connection. Remember, legacy isn't built through grand gestures or momentous achievements alone. It's cultivated daily through consistent actions that reflect your values. As Epictetus wisely noted, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. Similarly, your impact on others isn't determined by what you have or what position you hold, but by how you make people feel when they're in your presence. So I ask you, starting today, how will you use your thread in this vast tapestry of humanity? Will you strengthen the fabric by weaving connections of compassion, understanding, and generosity? Or will your thread remain isolated, focused solely on its own pattern? The choice is yours, and it begins now. In this very moment, you have the power to transform not only your life but also the lives of countless others through your words and actions. That, my friend, is perhaps the most profound transformation of all, from living solely for yourself to living as part of something greater. Conclusion: your transformation begins now. We've explored 11 principles that can revolutionize your existence, not in some distant future, but starting today. These aren't abstract theories or feel-good platitudes. They're practical tools forged in the wisdom of Stoicism and proven effective through centuries of human experience. Remember, transformation isn't about dramatic reinvention or abandoning everything familiar. It's about making intentional shifts in how you perceive and respond to life. It's about replacing complaints with action, choosing gratitude over entitlement, taking responsibility instead of blaming circumstances. These principles work because they align with fundamental truths about human nature and fulfillment. The question now is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you file it away as interesting information, or will you use it as a catalyst for genuine change? The difference between those who transform their lives and those who merely wish for transformation lies in this crucial decision. I invite you to choose one principle, just one, that resonates most deeply with you. Perhaps it's making challenges your allies, or optimizing your energy, or building goals that truly matter. Focus on implementing that principle today, not perfectly but consistently. As you master it, incorporate another, then another. Each small step compounds over time, creating a life of purpose, resilience, and authentic joy. Your transformation isn't some distant possibility, it's awaiting your decision to begin. And that decision can happen in this very moment, not tomorrow, not when circumstances are perfect, but now. Because as the Stoics understood so profoundly, now is all we truly have. So, my friend, are you ready to step out of the audience and into the central role of your life story? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Take that step today.